Hi guys, JP from FSiPanel. Are you tired of losing time setting up your cockpit and your aircraft to fly approaches and landings? Well, if that's the case, FSiPanel 2020 Standard Edition is there for you. You'll be able to be airborne in 4 nautical miles short final in within a few seconds. So I will show you how to do that. And for that, I'm using here the PMDG 737-800 United Series, and I'm sitting down right now at Kennedy Airport runway 31 right, where I would like to practice my landings. Before I forget, please subscribe to the channel. Thank you. So let's go inside the cockpit and see what you have to do to fly approaches. All right, here we are into our cockpit. Into the cockpit, we have nothing done. As you can see, I just loaded the aircraft. We have the default values into the MCP, nothing in the FMC, and we have flaps 5 currently. We are basically in a ready for takeoff state. So what you have to make sure with FSiPanel is that you have your engines running, which is the case right now, and you should have your IRS line. Basically, that's the only thing you need to do, and then we can open FSiPanel and select the type of approach you'd like to fly. So here we'll give it a shot. We try 4 nautical miles final today in Kennedy. The weather is quite windy. If I have a look at the METAR for today, what we can see for Kennedy is 36014 gusting 22, and the altimeter is 29096. So right now, if you look there, we don't even have the right altimeter setting, but FSiPanel will take care of everything, including the lights, which are off. We don't have the engine start switches to continuous. Basically, the aircraft is just loaded from the MSFS menu. All right, let's start FSiPanel and program this approach. All right, here we are in FSiPanel. The first thing you want to make sure is that the correct aircraft has been detected. In our case, we can see PMDG 737-800. That's correct. We are as well at the correct airport, and we said we would like to practice on runway 31 right, so that's not the correct runway. So I can choose any runway. You can see that headwind, runway 31 right, that's the good one to choose. So I will select runway 31 right. Then I'm not going to go into details for the positioning in FSiPanel. You can go to a very extended way. You can fly a star, pilot waypoint. You can modify all the default value, but here I'm just going to use the quick buttons right there, and we are going to try a short final. When you do that, you get a summary that you are flying an ILS runway 31 right, 4 nautical miles, and you should be at 1,000 feet AGL. 1,000 feet MSL, which in that case is almost AGL in New York. Then we have flaps 30 for landing. That's good for us. We will keep it to flaps 30, which is the default landing flaps. If you want to go flaps 40, just go for it. But as we saw, the weather is quite windy, so flaps 30 is probably much better in that case. Now we are ready to move. So I just have to click move aircraft, and we will see what is happening. When we go short final, we might expect glide slope warning, as we will be sitting very, very low at 1,000 feet. And about a dot or two below glide slope. As you know, it's very sensitive, so the glide slope will be coming very fast. So let's click move aircraft and see what happened. The first thing you see here is aircraft overweight, because I just loaded the aircraft from MSFS menu and it's full of fuel and it's overweight. So you have 3 options. Either you want to practice overweight and then you will go with that weight, which is not recommended. This is like in case of emergency. You can set maximum landing weight automatically, or you can click on new load. If you go new load, feel free to adjust the load as you like. So here, let's put around 116 pounds of zero fuel weight, and I'm going to take roughly 10,000 pounds of fuel. Something like that. I'm happy with that. I just click on update load. Now we go into the simulator, and what's going to happen there, FSiPanel is going to change the fuel. Now you will see the flaps moving to flaps 30, and once this is done, we will go in the air. Now do not touch anything. You can see that the fuel are not correct yet. QNH is not correct. Altimeter setting, is not correct, but FSiPanel is taking care of everything. Now you can see the FMC is programmed with the ILS. All is done now. Into the FMC, the weight, reserve, cost index, everything will be inserted for you right there. The approach speed as well for flaps 30. Once this is done, we are expecting to get a message from FSiPanel as we are reaching 1,000 feet that everything is ready. So let's see that happening right here on the window. Aircraft ready, hold your brake for 3 seconds to take control. The runway is right in front of us. Perfect. So now let's have a look at what FSiPanel has done for us. So if we start from the overhead panel, we can see that now we have the correct fuel pumps. The 2 center pumps have been turned off as we have no fuel in the center pumps. We have all the lights on. We have the engine start switches to continuous. We have the strobe lights on. We have the landing elevation set properly. We have the seatbelt sign, which is on. Now we have this expected glide slope indication as I was referring. Then if we go up here, we can see the 1000 feet. We can see the ILS course. We can see the speed, 144. 144 is the approach plus 5. 139 plus 5, 144. We have the auto brake 2. We have the speed brake arm. We have the ILS frequency set on both sides. So basically everything was done. One thing you should do if you want to practice go around, for example, you can see that now the waypoint that is active on the FMC is a waypoint which is behind us. So if you plan to do go around, and it's always a good practice to do that, just go for the next waypoint in front of us, in front of you, sorry. So you can see the next waypoint is basically the runway. So just take runway 31 right, put it on top, execute. Now, in case you go around, you can just push LNAV and follow the published missed approach procedure in New York. So that's the way to do it. So now you can see that we have the missed approach in the box. So that means we could fly a missed approach if required. And we are basically ready to fly. So everything's been done within a few seconds. I just have to hold my brake for 3 seconds to have the control. So let's try that. I'm going to hold my brake. 1, 2, and 3 seconds. I'm ready. I will arm the approach. I will put the second autopilot. And as you can see, Vorlock captured. Glide slope is alive. We have the runway in front of us. We have the correct speed and the aircraft is properly trimmed. So now we are going to fly a perfect ILS approach within a couple of seconds and everything is set up. You can go around, you can land. If you land, you will get a landing report. So I will try to show you that. We will try to do a landing, and for training purposes, what I will do, it's not really for training purposes, but it's for the video purposes. I'll try to make a long landing on this runway, so it shows in the landing report. So let's go down for now to 500 feet. Then I'll disconnect autopilot and auto throttle, and we are going for a long landing. Let's set missed approach altitude here. Landing checklist, engine start switches continue, speed brake is armed, landing gear is down and flaps turning green lights. We are clear to land. Reaching 500 feet, I will disconnect now autopilot. And I will disconnect auto throttle. Now we are flying manually, and we said we will try to go a little bit high on short final just to land at the end of the touchdown zone. So let's do that and see how we get the report from FSiPanel. So I will just refuse the ground. Common mistake when you start flying. So you see now I'm losing my glide slope because I'm coming fast close to the ground. So this is a common thing that happens with new pilots. And now the danger here is to correct. So just continue with maximum 1000 feet per minute. And now I'm going to land at the end of the touchdown zone. So let's put it here at the 3000 here, just here. Just before having to go around. Alright, speed brake up. Reverses green. And manual braking, auto brake disarm. I'll just stop the aircraft right there on the runway, and I will set the parking brake. Here we go. We stopped. Let's have a look at the landing report. Landing report. So as expected, we have a long landing. So what you can see in the landing report, the aircraft type, the runway that we have been using, the wind, you had 11 knots of crosswind, 10 knots tailwind, the temperature. Then we can see the landing distance. My computer is in metric, so this is why you see it in metric. If you have your settings into Imperial, you will get here the distance in feet. So we have a long landing here, and I'm slightly left of center line. Otherwise, the rate of descent was okay, and the rest was okay. So this is a way to know where you have to work. And we did that on purpose, but that's good to know how to work on your landing. Then you have the landing weight, you have the date of the flight, and there you can see some information about your approach. We landed with flaps 30, auto brake 2, and we disconnected the autopilot at 440 feet. We crossed the threshold at 142 knots, and we were within limit, as you can see, at 1000 feet 147, at 500 feet 146. If those figures were higher, we could be unstable, and that will show as well in that report. Threshold crossing 8, ideally you would like to be at 50 feet, which is the correct crossing altitude on an ILS approach. So as I wanted to demonstrate a long landing, I was a little bit high. This is why it shows here in red that we were too high. Maximum localizer deviation was at 0.8 nautical miles, and the maximum glide slope deviation, this is where I started to dive to show you what you should not do. Maximum rate of descent, and that's it. Here you can see the graph that we were flying the approach, and here you can see the vertical deviation. If you want to save the landing report, just click right there and the landing report will be available. I show you where in the setup under landing report, then you can see and click and see your landing report with the actual METAR, what you did at 932 meters, and it was red because something is red in the report. If you click open landing report, you get your landing report, and now you can print it if you want to record that. All right, so that's how to fly quick approaches using FSiPanel 2020 Standard Edition and the PMDG 737. I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. If you have any question or comment, please drop it in the section down below. And as always, stay safe and please subscribe to the channel. Thank you, guys. See you next time. Bye-bye.